Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, and this is part 2 of my series about the brand new Stam SA-76A-5. This is a Blue Stripe 1176 compressor in a 500 series. My recording chain for today is my Neumann TLM103 into my Neve 88RLB mic pre into the Stam SA-76A-5. Today, I will be going over all of the features, all the functions, and all of the buttons, all the knobs that are on this compressor. So the first thing to know is that this flathead screw right here, this is how you calibrate your meter if it is needed. When I got mine, the needle was off a bit, so I did need to get a small flathead screwdriver in order to calibrate it to where it needed to be. But after that, everything was pretty much smooth sailing and I've been good to go. Next, you have your attack knob and your release knob. Just like on your traditional 1176, it has the numbers all the way around. So 1 is slow, 7 is fast. So all the way to the left is the slowest, all the way to the right is the fastest. You do have this switch here to change gain reduction and output for your meter. So when you switch to output, the meter will read the output level of the signal. But honestly, I will probably never use this. I will keep using the gain reduction function of this meter. So next, we have the input knob and the output knob. The input knob is stepped. The output knob is not. It is a variable output. So you can do recall with the input if you happen to get a second one of these and you would like to try to use them in stereo or in dual mono and you want to match them. You can match the inputs, but you cannot match the outputs. The ratio on this compressor, I really like the ratios because they used real buttons instead of just a knob to change the ratio. And by using these buttons, it just helps give that feel that you are really using an 1176. And I really like that by Stam. I think that is an amazing job. This is the first time I've seen this and it's amazing. I love it. So right now I have this set to a 4:1 ratio. You have your classic 8, 12, and 20 ratios. And just like on the real unit, if you press all the buttons in, you will get that all buttons in sound. And you can hear right away that everything is kind of sounding crazy. Not something I would normally track vocals with, but if you are using this as a hardware insert to do parallel drum processing or parallel vocal processing, this is going to be a great tool for you. Let's turn the release all the way up and let's turn the attack all the way to the fastest. And this is typically how you would do the all buttons in setting, which is with the fastest attack, fastest release, all buttons in. This is what the Stam SA-76A-5 sounds like in all buttons in mode. So now let me dial that back to where I like it. And turn those buttons off. And let's just mess around. Let me put it to a 20:1 ratio just because I can. There is only one thing that I'm really not a big fan of about this compressor, and it is a lack of a true bypass switch. So when I'm tracking vocals with this compressor, I cannot put this compressor in bypass in order to check and make sure that my settings with compression versus the raw vocal level are level matched. Because what you do not want to do is accidentally boost the volume of a vocal via compression and trick your ears into thinking that the compression sounds better when it potentially might not sound better. You might just accidentally be making the vocal louder, and therefore louder is better. But because it does not have a bypass switch, you wouldn't know that. So I do have a recommendation if they ever came out with a Mark II version. I know that there are older 1176s out there where the attack, so when you have the attack at the slowest setting, some of them out there actually have the ability to click off. This one, of course, it can't do that, but it has the ability to click off if you turn it past that 1 mark. And that will turn off the attack so that you can use this compressor as a color box without gain reduction. And then from there, what I would do is make it so that when you don't have any of the buttons pressed, that acts as a true bypass so that you can actually do proper level matching when tracking. Because right now, when you don't have any button pressed, so when I turn off this 20:1 ratio, so no button is pressed right now. There's no gain reduction happening. When I drive this input, so I'm going to drive this input pretty high and I'm going to dial this output back. So now, without gain reduction happening, now without the buttons pressed, this is a color box and I'm getting some saturation, some distortion, some color out of this unit. And I think it sounds really cool. I like it. I like the sound of this. Just me personally, I would just really like to have a true bypass switch on this compressor. So if there's anything that I don't like about this, it's probably that. But overall, everything else about this compressor, I really like it. I love the color that you can get out of this. The higher you drive the inputs, the more color you get. I really love the sound of this compressor. It has a really full and smooth sound in the lows and in the mids, especially the mids. And it smooths the top end a little bit, and it also helps smooth some sibilance. This mic is typically on the brighter, more sibilant side, and this compressor actually smooths the top end a bit. So I feel like this is actually a perfect match for any bright microphones like the TLM103. So with that, this is the end of part 2. Part 3 will feature more audio examples. What I will be doing is comparing this compressor to my BAE 500C, which is an 1176LN in a 500 series. And they both should sound different, but I want to do a side-by-side comparison to hear the differences between the two compressors. We're going to hear it on bass. We're going to hear it on some more vocalists. Going to hear it on some drums, maybe acoustic guitar. We'll see. That is what is going to be in part 3. So if you would like to see that, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more content from me. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. I will see you in the next video.